Hi, and welcome to this edition of Legislative Report. I'm your State Representative, Matthew Dowling, representing the 51st District in Fayette and Somerset counties. Today we're joining you from Ohiopyle Prints, and I'm here with the Vice President of Operations, Steve Scheidel. Steve, thank you for inviting us in today to learn a little bit more about Ohiopyle Prints, a company that's been in existence for quite some time up here in Ohiopyle, correct?
Yep, over 30 years.
And you have a large number of employees. I know you're always looking for additional people to join your staff. A great manufacturing opportunity in the area. How many people do you have working for the facility?
This year we had 155 people working for us this summer, yes.
Okay, and some people may question, why Ohiopyle? Why would you start a screen printing business in the mountains of Fayette County? Why don't you give us a little bit of history about how you guys got started?
It starts off with two whitewater guides who were here guiding on the Youghiogheny River, and they were teenagers, and they realized that they did a lot of work as a whitewater guide and didn't get paid very much, and that the guy selling t-shirts to the outfitter was making more money. So they decided to give t-shirt printing a try on their own. And so on the weekends, they would whitewater guide, and then during the week, they would print t-shirts. And they operated out of the back of a school bus, and eventually they built the company up bit by bit and over the years. And I came here about 22 years ago, and have been working here since.
Okay. Now, some people may associate screen printing with, your Little League team that needs a small quantity of t-shirts, and that's not exactly what you do. You actually do orders for some very large nationwide retailers.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the client base that you serve?
Yes, we service major retailers. You can see our product in almost any Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Kroger, Giant Eagle. That's our customers. These are world-class companies that have very high demands from their vendors, and that's our main job, is supplying product efficiently and promptly and to their specifications of those retailers.
And to be able to do that, you have to have a large facility and a large inventory that you stock here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about maybe the volumes that you do?
Yes, we literally print millions of t-shirts a year. We ship those to all 50 states. We have a large customer service operation that makes sure that every one of those local store managers that run those individual retail locations, that they're happy and get what they need. We also donate millions of dollars to local high schools as part of that program. So our program sells product to a local retailer, and then we give a percentage of that to the local high school that's represented. So we have multiple millions of dollars in royalties and donations to high schools across the country.
Now, we keep talking about t-shirts, but I know there are some other products in your product line.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll get to that later on the tour.
Yes.
I think what's probably on everyone's mind is what's being printed on all this stuff, all these t-shirts, mugs, etc.
Yeah, we kind of follow the fashion trend of what's out there, and what somebody from maybe a middle school all the way up through their parents and grandparents would want to purchase. So we're not, we're kind of open to any idea, and we try to look and see what the current fashion is in any kind of high school product.
And so you mentioned it's a high school product, maybe a local community's name, say it could say Uniontown real large on it, or maybe you also do a little bit of resort work, you mentioned.
That's right. Yeah, so we would print to almost any whitewater outfitter in the country is typically a customer of ours. So it would be something that you'd buy after you go on a whitewater trip and come back and want to get a souvenir t-shirt of that.
Been there, done it, got the shirt.
That's
it
right.
may be coming out of your facility.
I survived the Youghiogheny River or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, this would all start kind of in the design process.
That's right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your designers and the type of work that they do here? Because you do design in-house, correct?
Yes, we do all of our own design work. We have a large staff of graphic artists that do all of our work. We don't take artwork from outside, from the public, or anything like that. We do our own work. We've been doing it for enough years that we know exactly what we're looking for, and it also has to be technically of a quality that that works for our customers. Our customers have a high demand for quality, and so we just can't we have to make sure that our artwork looks good for retail.
Sure, and you're not just doing single color, you have multiple colors, you have embroidery, you have a number of different processes, so I'm sure that makes design all the more difficult.
Always, yes, absolutely correct.
Well, Steve, will you explain the process that's maybe happening right behind us here?
Yeah, this is an interesting process. This is an automatic screen printing machine. This is an American-made machine that we have in our plant. What it does, it lays down layers of plastic ink onto the t-shirt. I'll give you an example, if I can grab this screen right here. So this is an example of a silk screen, and on it we have a plastic ink. And this is an ink that we use, and if you buy a t-shirt, this is the ink that's printed on it. It goes into this machine, and we place layer upon layer of it to get the effects of the art that we want. So it could be a simple one-color print, that's very easy, or it could be multiple layers where the ink actually mixes on the press. And so this press takes a t-shirt around, and we have 3 operators on each press, and the machine is sort of like a robotic printing press. It's printing the shirts and mixing the ink at the same time.
Does the ink almost dry instantaneously? Because you're laying color after color, if I understand you correctly, right on top of each other.
Yeah. Actually, the answer is the opposite.
Okay.
The ink never dries.
Okay.
So this ink is a plastic, and if I can hold it like that, you can see that it's almost like peanut butter.
Okay.
And if I kept that on my fingers and came back a year from now, it would look exactly like that. It never dries. It has no solvents or anything in it. It doesn't change until it gets hot.
Okay.
And then as soon as it gets hot, it turns out like a hard rubber. And that's what you have on the surface of a t-shirt.
Okay.
And so we could leave this on the screen for over the weekend, and it won't deteriorate or dry in any way. And so it goes through the drying of it that we have on the other side of the shop there.
So very different than an ink product would be.
Yes, than printing paper or something like that, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're in your embroidery section of the facility here, and behind us we have some ball caps that are being embroidered, where you're taking a blank like this and putting a pretty intricate design or pattern on it. Will you explain to me kind of the process you have to get a blank hat like this to the final step?
Yeah, the whole process begins with our purchasing department making a good choice of what a good-looking, fashionable ball cap looks like.
Okay.
Okay. Because if we buy wrong, then the end consumer will not buy it. So that's important. So we spend a lot of time looking at fashion trends and what's in the marketplace, and then making a good decision on the product to buy.
And I'm sure fashion trends over time change a great deal. You have everything from trucker style hat to the fitted hats that you have. Yeah. So I'm sure that takes a lot of research on your part.
Yeah, after 30 years in business, you kind of see that something like the
come
trucker cap,
back.
It comes around every 10 years or so. A new generation discovers it and thinks it's brand new, but we've seen it before. Then the trick is to make sure that the artwork that we put onto it, which we call it artwork, it's embroidery in this case, that looks good, that it matches the ball cap, and that it's accurate. So if we're going to do a Uniontown cap that says Uniontown High School on it, we want that to be spelled properly. We want it to be exactly what the local consumer would want to purchase.
And that's easy whenever you're living in Uniontown and you know the area, but you're serving clients, again, all across the United States.
Yes, we produce products for high schools in the entire country, and so it's really important for us to use technology and personal communications with local high schools across the country. We speak to hundreds of principals every day and superintendents across the country to make sure that when we produce a product representing their local high school, that it's accurate and appropriate and what they would want to see in a product with their name on it.
So back to the embroidery of hats, they're placing your artwork on it right now. What's the process? I'm kind of amazed by these machines where they're turning out a half a dozen or more hats at a time. Tell me a little bit about the machine they're using and the process that it does.
Yeah, these machines are probably the top of the line machines that are made. They're made in Japan. The company that makes these has made sewing machines for, it's sort of like the Singer sewing machines in the U.S. these are Tajima machines, which are really good machines. And they're basically robot sewing machines. So you load a design into the computer over on the right, and then the machine completely controls the changing of the thread colors and the rotation of the product. But we also have an operator that is very well trained and experienced on how to operate that machine and the result that they're expecting. So it's important that the operator know exactly how this machine operates. There's a lot of maintenance. We have maintenance people who keep the machines properly adjusted. There's a lot of moving parts back and forth, and so it's important to keep that machine running at top quality. We can't bring a technician in from Japan. We have to know here in Fayette County how to maintain that machine.
Well, and a machine breakdown, I would assume, costs you time and money, so you want to keep it in service and operating as often as possible.
That's right. The machines are maintained every day. So they're cleaned and maintained every day. And then we have technicians here that have experience and have been trained by the factory on how to maintain that machine in a breakdown situation.
Plus, I'm sure that's your first step of quality control. The machine operator looking at that design and making sure that it's being translated correctly into the embroidery.
That's right. It starts off with a product development person, okay, who's in a different department, who takes that hat and then makes some basic decisions about what the artwork should look like, what kind of price it should have. And then that goes to an artist who then will make the initial mock-up, we call it, and then we'll bring that back here and sew it, and then we'll even sometimes test market it. We'll send it out to some of our customers and see how well it does, and see if there's something that needs to be changed before we go into full production with it.
Now, to keep up with demands, what kind of hours of operation, shifts, days of the week do you typically have to run? Do you have a peak and off-peak season as well?
We do. It used to be we had about a 2-month peak season.
Okay.
Our peak season now is about 8 months.
Great.
So we run from April until October as much as we can. Our customers will take as much product as we can produce. We run a 10-hour shift, normally 4 days a week, but during those peak 8 months, we typically run 5 days, 10 hours a week, and we run 2 shifts. So we're always looking for employees that like to work in a production environment. We have graphic artists, we have product development people, we have marketing, customer service, sales people, we have maintenance people that maintain the machines. We've got managers who are good with working with people. We have a large accounting staff. We have a scheduling and production management staff. It goes on and on, really, you know. So,
since you're always looking for new people to help you do the work you're doing here, let's talk a little bit about your talent acquisition process. How do you bring new people in, or if someone's interested, how can they reach out to you to find out about openings and opportunities here at Ohiopyle Prints?
We have a website, ohiopyleprints.com, Prints.com, and that's a good place to start. It has a job application. We also work with some local communities, organizations to send us employees, and that's been real successful. A lot of word of mouth. We have a lot of families that work here, multiple generations work here. So any way that we can, you know, we're looking for good employees.
And when we started to talk a little bit earlier, we talked about employees that have had longevity with the company. Apparently you're doing something right. How long have you had some of the employees here?
I think we're getting up close to 28 years with some employees. We have a good number of employees at 20 and 25. So yeah, I've been here 22. You know, and a lot of people were here long before I came, so yeah.
Well, I think that says a lot about the company and the work you do here and how employees are treated. Why don't we head over to the next section of the plant we want to take a look at?
Sure, thank you. Yeah.
Well, we're standing here now in Applique, and you were explaining this process to me a little bit before the camera started to roll. Tell me and our viewers exactly what is Applique?
It's the process of putting fabric down in a layer, sewing that down. So the most common place we see that is on a jersey, a football jersey, where you have large letters, and so it's a sewn down letter. Okay. And that's what this does. And so it's a way for to have multiple layers of color. And so here at Ohiopyle Prints, we made the decision to invest in a very expensive piece of machinery that does that process. So that our customers can get something a little bit more premium look to it.
Now, let's say in the traditional method, if I wanted a number 10 on my shirt, we'd cut out a 1, we'd cut out a 0, we'd sew around the edges.
Yeah, and then the seamstress would go with a sewing machine and try to sew around those edges and tack it down.
But we have a huge machine behind us that Amber's working on right now, and she's laying down a single piece of fabric. So the process is a little bit different and maybe more efficient with this machine. Can you describe this process?
Yeah, what it does is it allows us to do something that would be very expensive. Now, if you're making a jersey for an NFL player, expense is kind of the expense of the applique is kind of secondary.
Sure.
So if that jersey costs $250, that's okay. But when we're selling something that we want the average consumer to be able to afford, we have to do it efficiently. And so that's where technology and a skilled operator come into play, where we can do that without having the manual labor that would be involved that would make the product too expensive. And so we're able to make a jersey for probably about $25, $30, where if we sewed that by hand with the typical way of doing it, it would literally be hundreds of dollars.
And if I understand correctly, the process is almost backwards right now. We're going to put down a piece of fabric, sew out the letters or numbers, and then remove that fabric in another process that this machine does, where it does the cutting, correct?
Yes, it has a computer-driven laser beam that will actually remove the fabric that's not going to remain. So we're going to cut away the fabric and just leave the part that has the lettering that this particular order requires.
And that robotic laser can move not just from the station where Amber's working, but the whole way down your facility's wall, correct?
That's right, that's right.
So it adds a lot of efficiency to the entire plant.
Yes.
Now, what does a machine like this cost?
Well,
rough numbers.
Yeah, this machine costs about $300,000. So it costs as much as an average house in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Each one of the machines we have here costs as much as a nice luxury car. So it's a pretty big investment. They last a long time, and luckily our operators know how to operate them properly and maintain them, and so the investment's a good one for us. Yeah. Now, if this machine sat unused, that would not be a good thing for us. So we make sure that it's exactly what our customers want.
You definitely have to have an economy of scale there and be able to continually operate that piece of equipment.
That's right, yeah.
Well, let's take a look in and watch Amber do a little bit of this work.
Yeah, so she's already sewn down the first part of the fabric. And I don't want to step in front of the camera here, but Amber's going to press a button and you're going to run the laser cutter across that. And if you watch as it goes, the laser moves really quick and you'll see a puff of smoke, and that'll be the removing of the extra fabric. So the machine right now, where you see the smoke, is cutting away the extra fabric.
Now we're in the digital printing area of your facility, and you're printing a number of different items in here, decals, and what are some of the other items?
Yeah, this is an area that's kind of, notice it's quiet, so it's the opposite of where we just came from in the embroidery department. This is where we print anything that uses what we call digital printing technology. So this is spraying ink onto paper, onto vinyl, onto magnets, onto any kind of a flat printable surface. And so we do a lot of bumper stickers. We do a lot of we print socks in this area. We also do a lot of magnets, refrigerator magnets, picture frames, anything like that. So this is a fairly high-tech part of our business. So this is the part of the business where if somebody wants to work with software and with a computer, and they're good with their hands as far as working on a fairly delicate piece of machinery, this is the place for them. They're good at thinking about how machines work. Okay, so we kind of have a job for different personalities.
Sure.
There's a certain personality that works well in this area, certain personality with our embroidery department. So when someone comes in our front door, we talk to them and try to find a good fit for what they'd like to work on.
Match their interests with the needs you may happen to have at that point in time, correct?
That's right. Everything from somebody who maintains our equipment. We have people that call high school superintendents all day long, and they've just got that. They love talking to
They're learning about that local area and what looks good on the products that you're selling there.
Yeah, and communicating clearly and being able to write a clear email. That may not be the same person who can maintain a machine, or who can operate a press or drive a fork truck. So we have a little bit for everybody here. Yeah.
Now, I have to ask, you're a Pennsylvania business, manufacturing in Pennsylvania. So from my point of view, I wanted to ask and see, are there any issues you have operating a business in Pennsylvania? Anything that the state legislature maybe could tweak or maybe do differently to make your environment more friendly so you can continue to do maybe even more business in the Commonwealth?
Yeah. We're a national company, so we have kind of experience in working with all 50 states to some extent. The funny thing is about Pennsylvania is we have some strengths and we have some weaknesses. One of our strengths is we've been around a long time, and so our laws have been on the books for a long time, as opposed to, let's say, a state that's fairly young. Maybe take Alaska or Hawaii that's only been 70 years. A lot of our language in our existing laws are difficult to read for the average business owner. And so there's lots of these and therefores and thys, and I'm exaggerating, but when you read the language, it's difficult for a small business that doesn't have a full-time legal staff to interpret some of those tax laws and so forth. So, when we talk to other states, we notice the difference, and maybe their sales tax laws or their business laws are a little simpler to read. And I think in the state of Pennsylvania, we just need to sometimes rework some of those regulations so that they're simpler and more clear, that they reflect some of the challenges in the modern world, where it's an international presence and as well as a multi-state presence. If we're doing just business in Pennsylvania, it's the laws are appropriate. But then as soon as you go to multiple states where we're shipping our products out of the state every day, more than we sell in the state, sometimes those laws they're not exactly appropriate for someone like us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So before we leave the digital printing room, I wanted to ask, is there any product here that you're particularly fond of, or anything you wanted to point out to us in this room?
Yeah, I love bumper stickers. They're actually right here. When you see a car that's got your local football team on it, it's an inexpensive product that when you're in the grocery store or a souvenir shop and your kid says, "Hey, Dad, I want something to take home." A bumper sticker is affordable at $3 or $4, and so that's a good one. They also they kind of say your local pride, which is what our company's all about. So all of our products have something to do with the local community. And so we go to a national retailer and we say, you've got Tylenol in every one of your stores. You've got bananas in every one of your grocery stores, but you don't have Uniontown Red Raiders or Laurel Highlands product. And so that's what we do. We make a product that's specifically for that local community. But the nice thing is it looks as good as though it was made for Notre Dame or the Steelers.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think we'll move on and take a look at some of the things you have here in your outlet shop, and that'll give everyone the ability to see kind of the final product of what we've been seeing made here today on our tour.
Everybody loves an outlet store, so that's a good place to
Let's
finish
head
up
over there.
Yep, sure.
Well, Steve, we're in our final stop of the tour here today, where we're in the outlet shop and looking at some of the products that you've made. It kind of amazes me, that digital printer you were talking about, printing your socks.
Yep.
This is the end result of something like that. And this is for a local school someplace within the United States.
That's right, that's right.
Would show up on a grocery store shelf. Just some really neat products. Well, I know at different times of the years, you have your store open up to the public for kind of some mega clearance type of sales and events. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about those and how the public can come and become engaged there at those?
Yeah. First is check out our website, ohiopyleprints.com. It has a store section, and then you can subscribe so you get announcements, that our listeners would get announcements when those sales are. They're usually a couple days only. And during that time, we do them back to school. We do them before Christmas. At times where maybe people need an extra shot of clothing or something. Our prices are really good. They're just a few dollars for a T-shirt or a pair of sweatpants, ball caps, anything you need. And it's a lot of variety. So it's not like your kids are going to be wearing the same thing everybody else is. We get products from all over the country, and it's seems to go over really well, and people enjoy shopping here.
So best place to find those dates is on your website?
Yes. Yeah, subscribe on our website. There's a place to get store announcements, and once you subscribe, then we'll send an email every time we have a special sale. And those things, you know, people walk out with shopping bags or garbage bags full of clothes.
I bet those days this place is full. You wouldn't be able to walk around.
It's elbow to elbow in here during those days, and we gear up for it. We save product throughout the year, just so when those sale times come, we have, especially back to school, that we have a lot of stuff that's, you know, that's good for kids and so forth. Yeah.
Your company is all about local community pride, and I know you're also active in our community and kind of giving back in a way and giving an opportunity to some people that are struggling and getting back on their feet. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the program that you have to bring people in from the halfway house?
Yeah, we have a local halfway house here. It's a men's program. It's called Another Way, and they're great people. And during their guests' time there, they have the option of working here as well. And so we have a number of men that come here and work, and these are people that are great people that have just found themselves in a tough time. The opioid crisis has unfortunately given that halfway house a lot of work to do, and we try to help out by giving those men work during the day here. And we have really had a good rapport with them. We also take in people from the community that we have everything from college level positions here, like our graphic artists, our salespeople, our management team, and then we have people that can come right out of high school and work here in the summertime. And so it really feels good as an employer to hire local people and then to be able to hire the variety of people that are in our communities. So we're not saying, oh, we only want low-skill workers, and we also don't say, oh, you have to have a college degree to come here. We almost have a spot for anybody that wants to work, as long as we have a position open and it's a good fit between the two of us.
Well, that's great to hear that you're giving another chance to those men in that halfway house program. I know they're with you probably for a short period of time, 3 or 6 months?
Yeah, typically 3 months. So they may be there for a 6-month program, but once they've got the initial part of the program where they're getting their life organized and learning job skills and so forth, then they have the option of coming here and working during the day and then finishing their program in the evening, the classroom part of their program. And so we would take them during that 3-month time. And it's worked out well. We've actually had a number of employees, after they finished that program, have relocated local.
Because they went into that program from someplace else in the state, perhaps?
That's right. That's right. We had it comes from all over Pennsylvania, and so they've relocated here to Fayette County or Somerset County and become an employee permanent with us. And that's been a great feeling as an employer, you know.
Great success story, ability to give back to your local community.
Yeah.
You know, I want to thank you for inviting us in today, for showing us the products you make, for showing us the employment opportunities you have here for local people. I know we get calls all the time about people looking for jobs, and especially within manufacturing, and this would be a great opportunity. If you're looking for additional information from my office, you can contact us on the information that will be shown at the end of this video. Steve, thank you for a great tour.
It's been a pleasure, Representative, yes.